A few days ago, I was looking at a picture of me. A picture of 11-year-old me performing on stage. Like literally, I could feel the nervousness, the shakiness from back then. After all, it isn't easy to perform in front of 500 people. And for me, it was impossible. I wasn't a confident child. And I always thought, maybe if I had this confidence, I would be simply invincible. Like literally, I would have so many certificates to show off to my friends and family. But I don't. I don't have any. I didn't participate in the events that were going on in the school. I didn't participate in the assemblies that were continuously happening every day. Like morning assemblies were a part of our regular schooling lives, and once a month it was our class's turn to perform. And a week before, the selection process would start, and literally I would hide behind the tables and the chairs so that teachers doesn't spot me, so I could participate. But this one time, a teacher came to me and she said, Mufaddal Khansab, I want you to participate in the next assembly and I don't want any excuses. I was petrified. I didn't know what to say to her, or I didn't know how to react. Took me a whole day to just digest what she said and to realize performing on stage is impossible for me. But talking to a teacher is really easy. I can do this. So I gathered up the courage. I went to her, and she was sitting on the desk, and she was checking her copies. I went to her and I said, Miss, I can participate in the assembly. It was a relief, and I was also expecting the worst possible response she could have ever given. But what she said was really mesmerizing. She said, I know, Mufaddal, you aren't confident, but remember this, if you participate, you will be proud of yourself. I would be proud of you, and I know you can do this. The day came, I was on the stage, it was an assembly, and you know, when you hold a jelly, the way it shakes, the way it wiggles, imagine that my legs. And that wasn't a problem, because when the mic came to me, it was trembling. And like everyone could see that the mic was literally shaking in my hands. Like everyone was laughing at me, and it was literally very embarrassing. Well, I said my lines. I went out of the stage, and it was an achievement. I was literally proud of myself. And all the negative aspects of the performance were knocked out by the sense of achievement. I was in a denial mode all of my life. I didn't recognize this as a problem until I grew a little older. I grew a little older. I thought, now I have to take these measures to solve the problems that I have. So number one that I did was I prepared myself for each and every situation. I made up solutions in situations in my head, and I tried to tackle them. It didn't seem new to me that these situations were, I could easily tackle these situations. Number two was I literally faked each and every move that I played. What does that mean? You know, what happens is when you are nervous, your body language says that you are nervous, and you literally keep your hands in a very awkward fashion. You try to stutter. You shake a bit in the worst cases. But you know, when you fake, what happens is the mind, you can easily manipulate your own mind, and what happens is the mind turns fakeness into reality, and that reality is adopted by the body and you don't feel nervous at all. It's quite confusing but quite true actually. And number three thing was I had the fear of embarrassment that I had to deal with. This fear was literally built in and I didn't have anything to, fix this. And this realization came to me in 8th grade that I was in an assembly and something terrible happened. I was in an assembly, I was standing and I slipped and I fell. And considering my size, it was a large fall and it was a very loud fall as well. And like each and every person was laughing, each and every student was laughing at me. And even my teachers were, because the moment I fall, I saw my teachers and they had this big smile on their faces. I was betrayed by my own people. But the whole day was literally miserable. Every single second of my life was disaster. Well, I went home and it was a Friday. The weekend passed away and on Monday I came back to school. And it was quite weird. Something in the weekend happened and it was something entertaining, something funny or something interesting that no one was talking about me. The only conversation was about that interesting thing. And then that's when I realized people don't care. There's this moment of joy that they celebrate, they laugh at you, they literally just make fun of you and then they move on. There's this more interesting, more entertaining thing that replaces you. And then I realized this shouldn't stop me from participating in stuff. There are times when you're nervous, anxiety hits you and you think of giving up and you're confused, you're terrified, you're scared, you give up. At that exact moment, think of the time when you are in your last stages of life and you're in your rest bed and you are looking back into your life, this regret that you gave up. And that exact moment, just stand up and say out loud to yourself, I can do this. I can go on the stage, I can perform wherever I want, I can do this. Mind is easy to manipulate. What happens is, you do it, you don't feel nervous at all. And it's not perfect, but it's good for you. And there's no regret, because living with this regret is very much painful. And living with the achievement is rewarding and you're satisfied, and this satisfaction, you crave for this satisfaction more and more and you become invincible. Thank you.